for holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
Thank you for holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line and we'll be right back with you.
Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you for waiting. Your patience is appreciated. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
line is on.
Hello. Please mute your phones and turn your attention to the public safety announcement. In the event of an emergency at NJ Transit, your safety is our top priority. Please follow these important instructions. In case of an emergency, announcements will be made over the loudspeaker or by a uniformed police officer. The emergency exit to McCarter Highway is the red stairwell located near the first security desk after you exit the boardroom. If necessary, CPR will be administered using the defibrillator. Please do not approach the dais. Documents can be presented to staff at the entrance to the boardroom. Please follow the directions of NJ Transit Police and staff. Thank you, and have a safe day.
Good morning. The August 22nd, 2025 Operations and Customer Service Committee meeting will now begin. I will now take roll call. Board Member Sermons.
Present.
Board Member Brown.
Here.
Board Member Nara.
Here.
For the record, Board Members Sermon, Brown, and Nara are participating remotely. Board Member Thomas is absent, and President and CEO Clory is participating remotely. Next is public comments. There are no in-person speakers and no pre-registered telephone speakers. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Telephone participants, if you have not queued to speak, you can press *1 on your telephone keypad to enter the queue to speak. Operator, please open the floor to public comments by telephone participants.
telephone keypad to enter the queue to make a public comment. You will hear a brief tone to indicate you have successfully entered the queue. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes for their public comment, and a warning will be provided with 1 minute remaining, and again with 15 seconds remaining. Please hold a moment while we poll for public comments. And at this time, there are 3 participants in queue to make a public comment. And the first public comment this morning is coming from Bill Barron. Bill, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Thank you. Bill Barron, Sierra Club, New Jersey. I hope everybody on the committee has had a good summer and continue. As you know, I usually come on and talk about mean distance between failure, and I was considering not doing it this month, but 2 things came across my desk that indicated that it's important to talk about it once again. There was an article in Bloomberg News recently. I'm sure New Jersey Transit has seen it. The title is "New Jersey Transit is New York City's least reliable commuter rail by a long shot." Analysis of real-time train data shows its passengers face major disruptions 6 times the rate of riders on other commuter rails. They cite that 1 in every 18 New Jersey Transit trains were delayed by at least 15 minutes or canceled completely in May, June, and July. For the average commuter, that meant a bad commute once every 2 weeks versus once every 3 months or more on Metro North and Long Island Railroad. And they also show that New Jersey Transit riders had more issues than their New York and Connecticut counterparts. Number of trains delayed but more than 30 minutes happened more than 1,000 times for New Jersey Transit compared to about 300 times for Metro North. And these statistics match very closely the continuing decline of mean distance between failure, particularly on rail. It's now down to around 45,000 miles. Buses down to around 4,000 miles.
1 minute remaining.
And light rail continues to be dismal. I understand, the root causes of this, the old equipment that you're dealing with, but the fact that the MDBF continues to decline across all 3 modes of transit indicates to me that New Jersey Transit has kind of given up. They're not doing anything. They're not doing any proactive short-term solutions. They're not offering anything, and it's very discouraging. There needs to be a lot more proactive attention paid to this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Adam Reich. Adam, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Good morning. Adam Reich speaking strictly in a personal capacity and not on behalf of any organization or other entity. I want to agree with Bill. We need a comprehensive plan on improving mean distance between failure, particularly on rail. It'll be months before you have new equipment in appreciable numbers, so we need to hear what's going to be done to improve the existing fleet's reliability. Next, Chief Trissillo, is it true that smoking summonses cannot be issued unless the officer sees smoking themselves? Is there really no way for an officer to issue a summons based on a photograph or security camera footage? If this is the case, can we ensure that there aren't as many instances of 3 or more officers congregating at the desks in Trenton, and that 1 or more patrols track level at Trenton a little more frequently to deter smoking? Next, for the customer service team, for the board actually, social media highlights. Do you find these slides and this information particularly useful? If time and resources are limited, wouldn't we be better served by having customer service issue trends and responses to complaints? Complaint trends, I mean. Next, for customer service, with the Salesforce system, if I submit a complaint or an inquiry and customer service responds, but then I follow up, I routinely find within a day or two Salesforce simply shows it is closed again. Does a customer service representative have to manually close out the inquiry each time in a follow-up, or is the system doing this automatically? Either way, it's a problem, and I would appreciate some outreach both to fix this problem and address some of the follow-ups that have not been addressed by customer service to this point. Next, with the Boot and Scoot weekends shuttle scheduled to run in September, is this something being fully funded by URHS, some other grant, or fare box revenues? Or alternatively, is New Jersey Transit and the ridership at large subsidizing this? If it's the latter, it's a concern. I would appreciate some transparency on this particular operation. Next, with so many cancellations following Meadowlands events, are we short on engineers? Do we not have enough to cover both regular service and special service with these relief days as well? Finally, at the July board meeting, after I defended a member of an advisory committee wrongly accused of speaking on behalf of the committee without permission, Mr. Calori publicly named my employer, even though I've never registered with the employer, never purported to speak for my employer. I'm a little troubled by this, as the suggestion that I disclaim my link to the employer seemed to be a veiled threat since it was presented as for my own protection. I'm concerned, Mr. Calori, why were you researching my employer if I've never registered to speak on behalf of my employer? Do you do this for all of the riders, or am I a special case? I would encourage you to reach out to me. Let's have a cordial conversation instead of sniping at each other through these short, abbreviated public comment periods. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Andy White.
Operator, please stand by. President and CEO Calori.
Certainly.
Megan, let
Yes.
me respond.
Yes.
Mr. Reich, I just want to be clear. Nobody's threatening you, number one. Number two is, I feel as a public service, it's important for you to know that when you're calling and you're an employee of the state, that I help you in as much as I can. So nobody's trying to threaten you. Nobody has a dossier on you. I just want to be clear about that, okay? And by the way, since we're doing that, I hope, since it's a working day, you took time off in your state job to make this call. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, you can continue.
Certainly. Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Andy Weiss. Andy, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Good morning. I would like to respectfully ask for Mr. Calori and the board secretary to please stop talking to each other during our public comments at board meetings. The board secretary keeps whispering into Mr. Calori's ear during our public comment time, and it is very rude. It's very, very rude. Whispering in ears is inappropriate and very disrespectful to taxpayers and concerned citizens making public comments. I want the board secretary to stop talking and whispering in Mr. Calori's ear and pay attention to our public comments or leave the boardroom. When is the NJ Transit corporate office going to grow up and act properly? We, the people, demand that the NJ Transit CEO, Chris Calori, give our public comments his time, his undivided attention. Again, we, the people, demand that the NJ Transit CEO, Chris Calori, give our public comments his undivided attention. The Murphy administration and the Democrats have no respect for citizens making public comments at board meetings. None. This administration has the worst track record. They've also censored us. Just a complete disgrace of an administration. We need change in November, because the Democrats in Trenton have destroyed NJ Transit and our state. Again, we need change in November because the Democrats in Trenton have destroyed NJ Transit and our state. The Democrats are a garbage political party. You are a garbage political party. The Democrats are a garbage political party that hates mass transit. You hate the Democrat Party hates mass transit. And it's not only in New Jersey.
1 minute
it's all
remaining.
over the 50. It's all over the 50 states. The Democrats run the worst government. You censor. You believe in censorship, cruelty, weaponization. You're the worst political party on earth. You believe in censorship. And you run the worst mass transit, not only in New Jersey, but all over the country. Everything that Democrats touch is a disaster. Thank you.
Megan, let me respond, please.
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Adam, I want to be clear. I was the first CEO when you asked to extend the time from 2 minutes to 3 minutes. And you thanked me for it, along with your other public commenters, number one. So I'm not sure why you would say that's censorship. In fact, I'm giving you more time to speak. Number two is the only reason I talked to Megan during the public comment is to see who the next speaker is. So because I want to make sure I take notes on what's being said so I can follow through on it. So it's not like we're whispering about the baking recipes. I'm actually trying to understand who the next speaker is and how many speakers there are so I can keep track of it. That's all that is. So I appreciate the fact that you're focused on conspiracy theories. There is no conspiracy theory. We're all trying to do our jobs, and we're trying to listen to you, just like I do at every board meeting, at every customer service meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, you can continue.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Tito Avrila. Tito, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, your audio is coming through. Please proceed.
Okay. Good. My name is Vito, V-I-T-O, Avrila. I'm the Vice Chair and Legislative Director of the Lackawanna Coalition, so I'll just read a couple comments and questions. So yes, we have concerns about accessibility indoors in Morristown and Morris Plains Station. We mentioned this in a previous board statement. We've noticed that New Jersey Transit has added some signs for some of the train stations along the Montclair-Boonton line. We like this. We would just like to have a little more information on this, if this is like a new initiative by New Jersey Transit or just what the reason is. I think, like I said, it's a good idea. And with that, also, we would like that there be more station area maps for more of the stations. There's only, I think, about 12 of them listed on New Jersey Transit, and it would be good to add some more. And regarding the Boonton Scoot, some of our members did take it last year, so it's good that it's going to be running again. And to kind of respond to the other callers, Lackawanna Coalition has made a statement concerning the mean distance between failures on New Jersey Transit rolling stock. And lastly, just to let you know that the next Lackawanna Coalition meeting is on Monday at 6:45 at Summit Library. Go to lackawannacoalition.org for more details. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Monica Jones. Monica, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm just calling. This is my first time calling in, and I'm calling in to complain about the number 10 bus in Jersey City. I submitted a transportation delay on July 30th. And my case number is 01760448, and I've yet to hear any feedback or get documentation for my job for being late, waiting on the number 10 bus. In that complaint, I submitted copies of the app, which was inconsistent with what the buses were doing on that day. And in addition to that, the number 10 bus, due to construction last year at Journal Square, has started turning down Sip Avenue instead of going straight down Kennedy Boulevard. Well, that construction is completed, and they're still turning down Sip Avenue, which means that if you're getting off at the last stop before Journal Square, you would have to walk multiple blocks just to get to that location. Mind you, that strip that they're rerouting is a major shopping area, and it's ridiculous as far as how that the number 10 bus drivers decide on their own which route to take. In addition to that, coming out of Journal Square, sometimes they go down Fifth Avenue, sometimes they go down Kennedy Boulevard. I have knee problems, which is the only reason why I'm catching the bus, and it's very cumbersome at this point. I've sent in multiple complaints. I have
1 minute remaining.
I have copies of bus numbers. The first stop out of Journal Square, one driver told me that he didn't stop there. He stopped at Fifth Avenue, saying that the 119 bus stops at the first stop. We need some consistency with the number 10 bus. Thank you.
Thank you. And there are no further participants in queue to make a public comment at this time.
Thank you, public speakers. Do any board members have any questions or comments? Okay. We'll move on to the first staff report, the Operations and Customer Service Update. Anthony Greco.
Thank you, Megan. And before we begin, I would like to respond to Bill Barron's remarks about the Bloomberg story. I can say this was an extremely biased and frankly irresponsible story using flawed methodology to fit a predetermined narrative, which we pointed out to the reporter. For example, they selectively used data points, including unofficial data sources, to fit this narrative. They used arbitrary timeframes as well as arbitrary dates in an attempt to inaccurately represent a comparison between New Jersey Transit and Metro-North and Long Island Railroad. They cherry-picked, for example, June 23rd as a date which they acknowledged in the story was a date that included incidents beyond New Jersey Transit's control, such as Amtrak signal issues and a brush fire in Linden. Obviously, a brush fire in Linden didn't affect service in Long Island. They arbitrarily defined a bad commute, quote, bad commute, I put that in quotes, as anything more than 15 minutes, which is not grounded in any industry standard. NJT, they made a comparison saying NJT suffered a bad commute, quote, bad commute every 2 weeks, while Metro-North and Long Island Railroad had a bad commute every 3 months. After reviewing the service alerts on social media, which is publicly available to the reporter, we found nearly 200 service alerts during the 3-month time period that the reporter was reviewing. And despite us pointing that out, the reporter failed to include that. So those are just some examples of the reporting in that story. So I'm going to leave that there for now, and we'll move on to the report. So again, thank you, Megan. Good morning, board members and members of the public. We'll be presenting the July Operations and Customer Service Committee report this morning. James Flynn from my team will moderate and provide the customer service updates on behalf of Deanna Sumner, who is absent from today's meeting. And the heads from each of the operating divisions will report out on their respective areas. With that, I'd ask everyone to turn to the next page, and I'll turn it over to Jack Travachino, Chief of Schedules and Service Design for Rail Operations, who's sitting in today for Jim Sincaglia, to begin with the rail report. Jack?
Thank you, Anthony. We'll start with on-time performance. As you can see from the top left chart, when factoring in all causes, overall on-time performance was 86.9% in July, up from 86.4% in June. When adjusted to remove the impact of Amtrak-related causes, July on-time performance increases to 89.9%, down slightly from 90.1% in June. You can also note increases in on-time performance for individual rail lines such as the Northeast Corridor, which improves by nearly 8%, from 82.5% to 90.3%. Moving to the next slide. This chart provides an added illustration of on-time performance as well as mean distance between failures over time, and includes an on-time performance graph that is adjusted for Amtrak-related impacts. Mean distance between failure was 47,747 miles in July, slightly down from 48,171 miles in June. Moving to the next slide, please. In July, there were 660 total cancellations, representing 3.5% of 18,817 total trips, up from 574 cancellations in June. In addition to cancellations caused by mechanical issues, which also impacts the availability of equipment, Approximately 17% of cancellations were due to unpreventable causes, which can include downed trees, flooding, other inclement weather, external utility and power failures, medical emergencies, local police activity, as well as trespasser incidents. Moving to the next slide. This slide is adjusted to remove Amtrak-related causes. Moving to the next slide. Moving to July rail performance by terminal and time, New York Penn Station trains reported overall on-time performance of 81% in July, up from 79.8% in June. Hoboken terminal trains reported overall on-time performance of 91.4%, down from 92.7% in June. System-wide, peak period trains on-time performance was 80% in July, up from 79.7%. Off-peak on-time performance was 87.9%, up from 86.7%. And weekend on-time performance was 95.1%, unchanged from June. Moving to the next slide. Trip annulled canceled. On July 3rd, multiple downed trees impacted North Jersey coastline service during the evening peak period. On July 16th, the morning rush hour period was impacted by a trespasser fatality near Newark International Airport, leading to the cancellation of Northeast Corridor and North Jersey coastline trains. Bridge issues at Morgan Draw on July 26th led to a disruption of North Jersey coastline service during the morning rush hour period. Also, equipment issues resulted in cancellations, largely related to extreme temperatures. Actions taken are noted on the next slide. On the slide. Trip delayed on July 3rd, Amtrak overhead wire issues, track issues, and mechanical issues largely contributed to delays. Amtrak program maintenance, equipment issues, Amtrak signal and switch issues, inclement weather, a bridge strike by vehicle all contributed to delays on July 14th. Amtrak trackside issues, switch issues, inclement weather, equipment issues, catenary issues, and program maintenance combined to contribute to delays on July 25th. Actions taken are noted at the bottom of the slide. Moving to the next slide, I will turn it over to Lance Norman for the bus report.
Thank you, Jack. Looking at the bus charts, overall on-time performance in July was 90.6%, up from 89.7% in June, and meets our goal of 90%. On-time performance for our major terminals in July was as follows. Port Authority bus terminals on-time performance was 88.6% in July, compared to 87.3% in June. Hoboken terminals on-time performance was 89%, compared to 90.1% in June. Atlantic City on-time performance was slightly down at 95.3%, compared to 96.3% in June. Newark Penn Station on-time performance rose to 95.6% in July, compared to 93.9% in June. Walter Rand Transportation Center on-time performance was 88.7%, up from 88% in June. Irvington Bus Terminal's on-time performance was 93%, up from 90.4% in June. Moving to the next slide. Regarding trip no-show. No-show comments were primarily related to operator availability and were highest for the Northern Division and spread relatively evenly in Central and Southern Divisions. Actions taken are noted on the slide. Regarding trip delayed feedback was highest for the Northern and Central Divisions and related to heavy traffic, accidents, disabled vehicles, road closures, weather-related incidents, as well as detours and construction that all contributed to delays. Among the issues impacting service in and out of the Port Authority bus terminal, on July 2nd, a multi-bus accident caused the south bus lane to be closed and bus service was diverted to Secaucus Junction, Newark Penn Station, and Hoboken Terminal. On July 5th, a motor vehicle accident on Route 3 caused delays. On July 7th, a car fire in the South Tube caused delays. On July 9th and 13th, FIFA Club World Cup soccer matches at MetLife resulted in additional roadway congestion that caused delays. On July 14th and 15th, flooding conditions on several New Jersey roads caused delays, and on July 31st, a state of emergency was declared due to the anticipated severe weather conditions. Issues affecting service in and out of Newark Penn Station were bus and motor vehicle accidents, road construction, and road closures with detours affecting multiple lines, causing heavy delays. Also, the inclement weather on July 31st caused major delays, detours, and traffic on multiple roads. Actions taken are noted on the bottom of the slide. Moving to the next slide. Before turning it over to Greg, I would like to highlight bus operations' capability to address overcrowding on the 319 line because of reduced Greyhound bus service between New York and Atlantic City. As background, several years ago, when Greyhound severely curtailed service between New York and Atlantic City, New Jersey Transit experienced a significant surge in ridership on the 319, resulting in widespread complaints about overcrowding. In recent years, we have observed a similar pattern emerging during holiday weekends with consistent year-over-year growth. Over the July 4th holiday period this year, that was between July 3rd and 6th, Farebox data recorded 10,644 total passenger trips on the 137 line and 319 lines combined. Notably, single-day southbound volumes exceeded 2,400 passengers over the holiday weekend, driven primarily by travel between Atlantic City, Toms River, and Port Authority Bus Terminal. These figures illustrate a sustained demand surge that warrants continued monitoring and potential capacity adjustments to further meet rider demands. Since September 2020, when Greyhound began reducing their service, the number of weekday trips operated on the 319 line increased from 24 to 52, a 116% increase. Ridership on the line has increased 120% in that time. Moving to the next slide, I'll turn it over to Greg Woods for the light rail report.
Thank you, Lance. Overall, light rail on-time performance was 91.6% in July, up from 90.5% in June. By line on-time performance for July was as follows. Hudson Bergen Light Rail OTP was 93.4 in July, down from 95.4 in June. Newark Light Rail OTP was 99.1 in July, unchanged from 99.1 in June. Riverline OTP was 82.3%, up from 76.9 in June. Light rail equipment reliability measured as mean distance between failure, or MDBF, is as follows. Newark Light Rail MDBF is 4,876 miles compared to 4,933 miles. Riverline MDBF was 2,678 miles compared to 3,244 miles, and Hudson Bergen MDBF was 12,890 miles, down from 13,284 miles. Moving to the next slide. For trip annulled canceled, the majority of feedback was received for the Riverline, and again, this is largely due to the contractor's inability to maintain a sufficient level of available equipment throughout the course of the month. NJ Transit continues to work with the contractor to ensure available resources are identified and aligned to improve equipment availability. Actions taken are noted at the bottom of the slide. For scheduled service, nearly all feedback received was regarding Hudson Bergen Light Rail, where vehicular traffic interference and police activity impacted service. However, most of the feedback received was from customers who were impacted by changes to weekend schedule that is modified to accommodate outages that are required to allow necessary construction and maintenance activities to occur. These schedule changes are typically publicized in advance to provide customers with as much notice as possible when planning their weekend travel options. These critical projects are scheduled on weekends so as to minimize customer impacts to the greatest extent possible. Actions taken are noted at the bottom of the slide. And as we move to the next slide, I turn it back over to James.
Thank you, Greg. Social media is a critical part of our light rail communication efforts about projects and service updates. We issued social media posts for the Riverline to inform customers that NJ Transit will provide service for concerts at Freedom Mortgage Pavilion. For Newark Light Rail, we issued posts on construction maintenance on the Newark Light Rail that resulted in boarding changes on July 27th at Park Avenue and Orange Street stations. We also issued posts for the HBLR highlighting efforts by our safety team to remind customers to stay safe at grade crossings. Moving to the next slide, I will turn it over to Namika Parker for the Access Link report.
Thank you, James. Access Link on-time performance was 96.1% in July, up from 95.4% in June. We served 140,519 total riders in July. The total number of cases for July was 58. The top issues generating feedback were service delays with 27 and employee performance with only 9. We received 180 commendations for the month of July, with 95 of them for our Access Link Operations Center staff. An example of a commendation we received comes from Jay Kupka. Called in to submit a commendation for Region 5 operator Isaiah Sanders. She expressed how he provided outstanding customer service during her pickup from the laundromat this morning. Ms. Kupka stated that Mr. Sanders is exceptionally courteous, professional, and demonstrates a genuine dedication to his job. She hopes to have more rides with this pleasant and respectful driver in the future. Moving to the next slide. Service delays. We received 27 service delay comments in July. Communications in this area were evenly spread amongst the regions. The highest area of concern from customers who experienced vehicles arriving after their 30-minute window expired. These delays can be attributed to traffic conditions. The actions taken are noted on the slide. There were 8 customer comments in July. 8 customer comments in July. Service schedules concerns centered largely around reservation errors. We are diligently training and monitoring agents to ensure accuracy of the trips requested. All identified errors were addressed with the appropriate agents, and we have increased our quality assurance efforts and will continue to provide ongoing staff retraining as needed to minimize impacts to the customer experience. Again, the actions taken are noted at the bottom of this slide. Moving to the next slide. Social media is a critical component of our Access Link communications. In July, we posted to recap our time at the 7th Annual Constituent Services Fair at Camden County College. This was a great opportunity to speak to customers about their services, Access Link offers, and as well as other New Jersey Transit services provided in the region. We also posted an Access Link tip to remind customers to double check they have all of their personal belongings before exiting the vehicles. Moving to the next slide, I will turn it over to James.
Thank you, Namika. Customer service received 42,512 calls in July. The 13 rolling month average was 40,236 calls. The average speed of answer for the Transit Information Center was 37 seconds, shy of our goal of 30 seconds. The agents answered 93% of calls in July. Moving to the next slide. NJ Transit received 157 commendations system-wide for July. I will read one to highlight the positive impact our staff had on the individual customer experience. In this case, a bus customer. On July 3rd, I boarded the 114X bus leaving from Port Authority at 7:35 p.m. The ride was smooth and uneventful until we reached Plainfield. Apparently there had been a storm in that area that caused many trees and some power lines to be down. Many streets were blocked off, and the driver could not navigate the usual route. This was totally unexpected. I was the only passenger left on the bus by this time. The driver was incredibly calm and quick to act even with the stressful situation. I was becoming quite anxious at this point, especially because my cell phone wasn't working and I couldn't get in touch with my husband for several minutes. The driver was reassuring and calm. Although we were significantly off the usual path, he navigated the bus carefully and safely until we were eventually back on the regular route. I made it home safely. I cannot commend this bus driver enough. He deserves to be recognized for his actions. He deserves a gold star. Moving to the next slide. On this page, we'll review social media reach and engagement. In July, NJ Transit social media messages were seen over 5 million times, which generated over 169,000 engagements and more than 36,000 visits to njtransit.com. During the month of July, the social media team sent 5,141 messages. This number represents the combination of informational posts and responses to customer inquiries. Moving to the next slide. Our NJ Transit Police Department continued its strong social media presence. The New Jersey Transit Police Department proudly welcomed new officers to the force. Those newly commissioned officers exemplify our commitment to professional excellence and readiness in serving the public. New Jersey Transit Police also had a very meaningful time connecting with communities across New Jersey during National Night Out. These events highlight the ongoing commitment to community partnership, and public safety. Now I'd like to turn it over to Chief Trusillo for an update on NJTPD initiatives.
Thank you, Jim. I'd like to report out on our outreach efforts during the month of August. In August, our officers encountered 498 at-risk individuals across our facilities across the state. I'm happy that 136 accepted service. We also continue to participate in the Attorney General's Arrive Together program to try and assist those who may suffer from mental health issues. In the month of August, we encountered 21 individuals partnered with social workers from the Arrive program and 6 accepted services. We continue to assist those who have overdose in our facilities. And in the month of August, from the 1st through the 20th, New Jersey Transit officers deployed Narcan 19 times, saving 19 lives. Year to date, New Jersey Transit officers have deployed Narcan 147 times, and I'm happy to report that all of them had a favorable outcome. Smoking. New Jersey Transit police officers continue to focus on smoking, and they've issued this month up through the 20th 11 summonses. Year to date, officers have issued 375 summonses across our facilities. And in response to an earlier caller, let me just say that yes, a police officer must witness a violation, and then the police officer can use discretion and give a warning, or they can issue a summons. And year to date so far, 40 summonses have been issued in Trenton Transit Center for smoking. As Jim mentioned, in August, August 5th to be precise, was National Night Out. And at their invitation, the New Jersey Transit Police Department participated in 14 different communities across the state in their National Night Out activities. And that's my report, Jim.
Thank you, Chief. Moving to the next slide. And we'll close with a slide that illustrates the press releases we issued during the month. That concludes the Operations and Customer Service report.
Thank you. Do any board members have any questions or comments?
I do, Megan. Just, I am sure that people were taking notes, but we had the one caller who raised the issues about, I think it was the number 10 bus. The issue is, whatever the actual substantive issue is, I'm hoping can get it addressed. But I did want to make the comment because according to the caller, she made that call on the 30th, I believe, of July, or the 31st, and she still hasn't received a response. I'm hoping that is an aberration, but I really would like that to be looked into because I know we pride ourselves on the responses that we give to our customers, and I think that everybody here agrees that the first level of communication is to at least respond. So I hope somebody can look into that and get back to us about what happened there. Thank you.
And Board Member Nara, it's
Board
Anthony.
Member Nara, I'm going to personally make sure I follow up on it by next week. But Anthony, you have a comment?
No, I was just going to say we'll follow up on that because I believe that is an aberration. We do pride ourselves on prompt response, so we'll look into that immediately following this meeting.
Thank you. Are there any additional board member questions or comments on this report? Okay, we'll move on to the customer advocate update. Frank Bowman.
Thank you, Megan. Good morning, everyone. I'll start my report with the customer advocate form online on the NJ Transit website. The start of summer was especially active from a customer feedback standpoint. Between June 1st and July 31st, I received and processed 112 customer comments. You'll find the list of emerging topics on this slide, but I want to highlight a few in particular. I'll mention the Route 70 bus stop confusion at Cherry Hill. I got a concern from a bus customer raised about unclear boarding during ongoing road construction. The bus operation team coordinated with the DOT to ensure stop-by-stop updates would be posted on the website as work progressed in the area, so that was resolved successfully. Advance notice for schedule changes. I got a few customers requesting more lead time before schedule updates. So in the future, and although I realize it is sometimes challenging, I recommend that we set a minimum standard of 2 weeks notice for significant changes as much as possible. And the third comment I wanted to highlight was the cleanliness concern at 8th Street HBLR station. Complaint was issued about station condition, and notably bird droppings. But the station has been since power washed and looks new. So thank you to the team. Next slide, please. On this slide, you'll find the key topics that was tagged in on X, former Twitter, during June and July. While these topics may affect multiple passengers, they do not necessarily reflect broader concern trends. As expected, there was a seasonal increase in AC-related concerns, which is also reflected in the customer service metrics that I'm going to review a little later. The recent heat waves placed added stress on equipment across all modes. Moving on to the next slide. This summer, 2 listening forums were held at different locations. The first took place on June 17 at the Walter Rand Transportation Center in Camden, and the second on August 5th at Newark Penn Station. So I'm still processing the feedback collected in Newark, but I'd like to share a brief summary of the Camden Forum. So we had many engaging conversations, and all individual requests have been carefully reviewed by the operational teams. But on this slide, in particular, I made a short summary of the overall sentiment we captured. In terms of service, we received concerns about recurring cancellation on the River Line. We got minor reports of delays on bus routes, but requests for a better frequency of service on some lines. About the Walter Rand Transportation Center itself, we got the appreciation for the newly added benches inside the terminal, with a suggestion to add more seating outside, including along the River Line platforms. I know that this is being looked into. We also got a request to open the terminal earlier to allow customers to wait for buses in more comfortable conditions. Talking about the vehicles, buses and River Line trains have been deemed clean overall, but bus tracking information was sometimes missing. Next slide. Just want to say that next month I'll review the comments from the Newark event as well. So I'll start with I'll now present my customer service concern dashboard for June only due to timing constraint during this summer committee meeting cycle. In September, I will share the combined matrix for July and August. Starting with rail on this slide, we recorded a 10% increase in concerns per 10,000 passengers compared to May. However, the figure still remains below the annual target. In June, the Maine and Bergen lines, the Montclair-Woodland line, and the North Jersey Coast line also an uptick in complaints. This increase was primarily driven by a 17% rise in service-related issues, along with a noticeable spike in air conditioning complaints during the heat wave. Next slide, please. For light rail, the number of concerns per 10,000 passengers in June decreased by 15% compared to May. HBLR recorded a significant 28% drop, while the River Line still impacted by mechanical issues, so a 13% increase. New York light rail levels remain stable. Overall, service-related concerns declined in June, with fare purchasing policies being the only category to show an increase. Moving to next slide. For bus, the number of concerns per 10,000 riders rose slightly by 4% in June, the Southern Division experiencing the largest increase. Service-related issues were the main drivers of the overall increase, particularly in the Southern Division. And we also noted a rise in bus condition complaints, largely tied to the HVAC problems. Next slide. For AccessLink here, over the past fiscal year, AccessLink concern per 10,000 passengers consistently remained below target, making a significant improvement compared to the previous fiscal year. This held true in June as well, despite a 12% increase in concerns per rider, largely driven by complaints from Region 2 and 6. That said, service-related concern decreased slightly, and New Jersey Transit employee performance concern dropped by 15%. On the other hand, the other categories saw increases, including service provider performance. I also wanted to mention that in early August, I attended 2 AccessLink forums where passengers were invited to share their concerns and ask questions directly to the AccessLink team. These sessions provided customers with both responses to their issues and a clear view of service performance. I will also share a brief summary at the next committee meeting. Next slide, please. As I mentioned earlier this year, passenger information remains one of my key focus areas. While there is still room for improvement, particularly around communication during unplanned disruptions, I wanted to highlight a few recent announcements from the New Jersey Transit teams that are already having a positive impact on the passenger experience. First picture, improve online communication for planned service changes through a new feature on the New Transit's website status page. The yellow triangle symbol is now frequently used to alert light rail passengers of upcoming bus diversion, for example, and is also used for schedule updates on the rail side. For the second picture this picture on the right, progressive replacement of passenger information stands. The before and after picture on the right shows the improvement made during the tunnel closure between the Patco station and the Atlantic City line platform at Lindenwold. And finally, new wayfinding signage now being installed at Select Trend Station. The updated floor stencils looked great at Secaucus, so I recommended expanding these implementation to Trenton, That's the picture on the bottom left. Next slide, please. Drawing on insight gained from the FIFA events held in June and July, I wanted to share a few comments, suggestions for the board and the operational teams. I suggest facilitating ticket purchase on the web and on the app, allowing customers to purchase without account or click connection with Google, Apple, or Facebook. We're going to have a lot of people coming from abroad. They will not have an account, so that will make their life easier. Also suggest making a 30-day validity fare message more prominent on the fare purchase webpage. I know this is something that's already in the process. We know I have a lot of people coming from abroad again who are going to try to book their trip and all the details of their experience ahead, and they may face some frustration if they do purchase their fare more than 3 days in advance. I also suggest more flexible wayfinding signage at the train bus split, and to identify and deploy ambassadors with foreign language skills at key locations. I was one of them during the events, and I think a lot of people were very appreciative to see ambassadors speaking French, speaking Spanish, Portuguese, etc. And I also wanted to ensure clear and proactive communication with regular riders, especially regarding service cancellation. When disruptions are caused by factors such as extreme weather, I think it's important to clearly state that this, as many customers believe recent impacts were due to prioritizing the FIFA event. More transparent real-time updates will be essential to manage public perception and maintain trust overall. And that's all for me today. Thank you.
Thank you. Board members, any questions or comments? Okay. Next is the cost of service update. Jacqueline Stanford.
Thank you, Megan. This slide presents key performance indicators related to our cost of service. Specifically, farebox revenue per passenger, subsidy per passenger, cost per passenger, total cost of service, and farebox recovery rates. In July, across all modes and on an average per passenger basis, we recognize revenues of approximately $4.38 on costs of $13.64 for a recovery ratio of 32%. Per passenger subsidies of between $4.18 and $9.25 were required for bus, rail, and light rail service, with farebox recovery ratios of 42% for bus, 44% for rail, and 11% for light rail. Access Link's recovery ratio was 2%. Thank you. This concludes my report.
Thank you. Board members, any questions or comments? Okay, that concludes the agenda for the Operations and Customer Service Committee. The Administration Committee meeting will begin at 10 a.m. Thank you for your participation. You may disconnect.
Thank you, everyone.
Good morning. The August 22nd, 2025 Administration Committee meeting will now begin. I will now take roll call. Board Member Morocco?
Here.
Board Member Brown?
Here.
Board Member Caniff?
Here.
Board Member Wise?
Here.
For the record, Board Members Brown, Caniff, Morocco, and Weiss are participating remotely. Vice Chair Carson and Board Member Thomas are absent. Chris Calorie is also participating remotely. Next is public comments. There are no in-person speakers and no pre-registered telephone speakers. Operator, please open the floor to public comments by telephone participants.
You may press star 1 on your telephone keypad to enter the queue to make a public comment at this time. You will hear a brief tone to indicate you have successfully entered the queue. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes for their public comment, and a warning will be provided with 1 minute remaining and again with 15 seconds remaining. Once again, you can press star 1 on your keypad at this time if you wish to join the queue to make a public comment. Please hold a moment while we poll for public comments. And at this time, there are no participants in queue to make a public comment.
Thank you. The first staff report is the financial update. Jacqueline Stanford.
Thank you, Megan. I'm pleased to present New Jersey Transit's financial report representing the first period of fiscal year 2026. Additional information related to key performance indicators, vacancy trends, revenue and ridership, and profit and loss details not presented can be found in the appendix to this presentation. Page 2 of the report shows a summary of fiscal year-to-date operating results as of July 31st. New Jersey Transit saw a net loss from operations of $13.7 million and realized a $1.3 million gain due to the timing of reimbursable project revenue for a total net income of negative $12.4 million. This compares to last year when we reported a $70.1 million loss from operations, drew $80 million of federal COVID relief funding, and had a $0.1 million net negative reimbursable project revenue for a total net income of $9.9 million. Compared to budget, total operating revenues were unfavorable by $4.5 million, or 1.8%. Farebox revenue in July was $81.7 million, which was $1.1 million, or 1.3% more than budget, and $7.7 million, or 10.4% more than July of last year. Commercial revenue from various sources totaled $10.1 million in July, or $3.3 million less than budgeted. State operating assistance was $69.4 million in July, reflecting the monthly receipt of assistance scheduled to total $832.5 million in fiscal year 26. Funding from the New Jersey Turnpike Authority was $39.2 million, reflecting the monthly receipt of assistance scheduled to total $470 million in fiscal year 26. Lastly, other grants and assistance, consisting primarily of federal funding for preventive maintenance as well as clean energy funding, totaled $40.7 million, or $2.3 million less than budgeted. On the expense side, year-to-date total operating expenses were 9.2, or roughly 3.7% more than budget. This is largely due to a continuing low percent of vacant positions, as well as increased material and supplies needs and costs. On page 3 is a view of farebox revenues by mode over the past 12 months. The dashed line at the top of each graph is the budgeted revenue, while the solid line represents the actual revenue since August of 2024. As can be seen, revenues after the fair holiday of August and September 2024 have followed budget trend but remained below budget until July 2025. July revenue totaled $81.7 million, or 101% of budget, and was $7.7 million, or 10.4% more than July of 2024. Rail and bus revenues were 104% and 98% of budget, with rail at 17% and bus at 3% more than July of 2024. Page 4 highlights selected major balance sheet items. New Jersey Transit's operating cash balance on July 31st was $155.9 million. There was a zero balance on our credit facility, and we had a long-term debt balance of $1.7 billion. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Do any board members have any questions or comments? Okay, next is the Human Resources Update. Joel Gokul.
Good morning. I am Joel Gokul, Chief Human Resource Officer. And before reviewing the hiring numbers for the month of June and July, I want to highlight a few of our department recent initiatives. For police recruiting, New Jersey Transit Police recruitment is progressing in coordination with upcoming academy schedules. Mercer Academy begins August 25th, Passaic Academy on October 27th, and Essex Academy on December 22nd. NJTPD has a total of 42 open positions, 17 existing requisitions, and 25 newly added for fiscal year 2026. For candidate outreach, in June and July, the outreach team expanded strategic partnerships and hosted several in-person and virtual events to strengthen the talent pipelines. Highlights include June career fairs, tech school events, and a record-setting Work with the Best virtual session with 778 registrants and a 94% satisfaction rate. July efforts included engagement at the Trenton Area Soup Kitchen, ongoing collaborations with Brookdale's 160 Driving Academy, Bucks County Community College, and the Newark Workforce Development Board are supporting recruitment for key programs, with 30 to 60 candidates expected in August. Targeted job promotions, including e-blast and a new bus operator flyer focused on hard-to-fill roles. These efforts contributed to 26 hires in June and 19 in July. For military outreach, these efforts continue with Army PAYS and Public-Private Partnership Office and targeted e-blasts in July to select military partners promoting rail positions such as Senior Road Foreman Engines, Senior T&E Training Specialist, and Manager of Rail Infrastructure Design. For internships, in June, the internship team hosted the second annual in-person orientation for 103 interns, 96 new hires, and 7 extensions, facilitated professional development sessions to support interns during their first week, and giving interns the opportunity to network with professionals across the organizations. In July, a mid-year survey was conducted to assess program impact, organized tours of the MMC/ROC and the VBF light rail facility, and ended the month with an intern appreciation day. For employee engagement, in June and July, the employee engagement team strengthened employee connections and recognition. The 2025 engagement survey launched for non-agreement staff, closing with 382 responses. The 9th annual Employee Art Exhibit drew 250-plus attendees, and participation in wellness fairs reached hundreds across the facilities. July also saw the launch of the Value Impact Awards, with 71 nominations submitted. Employees' connections through wellness fairs continued, focusing on thanking frontline workers and promoting transit mobile access. Our efforts have been well received by agreement employees. HR dashboard in June-July, highlighting key metrics and updates as shown on the screen. For June saw an overall vacancy rate of 3.82%. Of those vacant positions, 87 were in administration, 328 were in bus operations, 68 were in rail operations, 7 were in light rail and contracted services. 249 new hires joined us in June, including key hires of 96 interns, 54 bus operators, 20 assistant conductors, 16 locomotive engineer trainees, and 12 trackmen. In total, there were 44 promotions, 10 job reclassifications, 30 retirements, 83 other separations, 53 suspensions, and 3 discharges. July saw an overall vacancy rate of 4.09%. Of those vacant positions, 102 were in administration, 337 in bus operations, 88 were in rail operations, 7 were in light rail and contract services. 110 new hires joined us in July, including key hires of 66 bus operators, 7 car appearance maintainers, and 5 cleaners. In total, there were 18 promotions, 14 job reclassifications, 26 retirements, 60 other separations, 60 suspensions, and 10 discharges. This concludes the HR dashboard for the month of June and July. I appreciate your time, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Do any board members have any questions or comments? Okay. Next.
Just one.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
curious how normal sorry, Megan, just the police vacancy rate, I think there's about 42 open positions. How normal is that? And is that seasonal based on when classes come in? I'm just curious what the kind of average vacancy is with NJTPT.
Board Member Weiss, it's Chief Trusillo, if you allow me to speak to that. Because of the unprecedented demands that the 2026 FIFA will present to us, we saw an increase in our head count. So in addition to what would be considered our normal vacancy rate, which we're trying to fill, we also have additional positions that we're trying to fill so we can be prepared for 2026 and the FIFA World Cup.
About how many is that? Doesn't need to be exact, but how many of that 42?
Well, that's probably about 25 of the 42.
Got it. Okay. Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome, sir.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, next is the Equal Employment Opportunity and Affirmative Action Update. Naeem Din.
Good morning. Yeah, thank you. Excuse me. So starting with the highlights page, there were 26 complaints under investigation at the end of July 2025. Through visits to our facilities, we continue to conduct employee outreach and disseminate information about our EEO policy, about our mission, and the role we play in the organization. During July, we conducted 7 such visits, and so far in August, we have conducted 7 such visits also. We also continue to provide online and in-person training. We provide training on prevention of harassment and discrimination to new employees, to newly hired or promoted supervisors, as well as for assistant conductor training program and locomotive engineer training program. The next slide shows the number of new complaints that were filed as well as those that were closed each month during the previous 12-month period. During June and July, 12 new complaints were opened and 8 investigations were concluded. The next slide shows the status of complaints which were filed. Investigations of complaints which were filed in 2024, 99% of those have been concluded. The 2025 complaints are currently under investigation. The next slide provides the basis for all complaints that were open at the end of July. The most frequently alleged basis for complaints were race discrimination, which was 20%, retaliation, 20%, and sex discrimination, 14%. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Do any board members have any questions or comments? Okay, that concludes the agenda for the Administration Committee. Thank you for your participation. You may disconnect.
Thank you. Have a good day, Megan. Have a good day, everyone.
You too.
Bye-bye.